The Los Angeles Lakers just got exposed again. Another loss, another defensive collapse, and the cracks are getting wider. Coach JJ Redick didn't hold back after the game, admitting their biggest weakness is something every team is exploiting. But what happened next will blow your mind.
Let me break down what's really happening with this Lakers team. They're struggling to contain the basketball, and it's becoming their Achilles heel. Redick was brutally honest in his assessment, saying they're just not very good at the things that help you win on the margins right now. They can't crash the boards, they're not forcing turnovers, and when teams shoot well against them, they're in serious trouble. The stats don't lie. The Lakers are ranked 27th in opponent field goal percentage from three-point range. That's not just bad, that's catastrophic. And tonight, against the Kings, they gave up 17 threes, while Sacramento shot 45% from beyond the arc. Teams are consistently exposing the same weaknesses over and over again. Here's where it gets interesting. Marcus Smart finally returned after missing several weeks with a back injury, and he put on an absolute show offensively with 26 points and 8 three-pointers. But even his return couldn't mask the glaring defensive issues. Smart himself admitted the team is groggy, needs to recalibrate, and they're trying to find where they need to go. If you're enjoying this breakdown of what's really going wrong with the Lakers, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates on this developing situation.
The defensive breakdown isn't just about individual talent, it's about 5 guys being on a string, as LeBron James pointed out. The Kings had 6 or 7 players who could break down the Lakers' defense off the dribble. They're super fast, super quick, and the Lakers just couldn't keep up. Communication was at an all-time low, and in transition, they got absolutely torched. The coverage teams are using against LA is becoming predictable. Both Phoenix and Sacramento played with a big man in a deep drop, essentially daring Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves to take those tough mid-range twos. And when the Lakers couldn't counter that strategy, the game slipped away. They went on a devastating 17-2 run that turned a close game into a 20-point deficit, and suddenly the Lakers were playing uphill for the rest of the night. Austin Reeves, who had carried the team for 6 straight weeks, finally hit a wall. The toll of being the primary offensive weapon showed, and he couldn't get anything going until it was too late. JJ Redick acknowledged that reality, saying the guy's been carrying them and it takes a toll. Even LeBron's thunderous dunk that momentarily cut the lead to 8 couldn't sustain any momentum. 2 straight turnovers killed that run instantly. Make sure you're subscribed because we're tracking every development with this Lakers team as they try to figure things out before it's too late. The bench production is another massive concern. Outside of Marcus Smart's explosion, the rest of the reserves barely touched the ball. Jake played just 8 minutes, Gabe got 1 shot, and Rui Hachimura only managed 4 attempts. When your bench can't contribute and your starters are exhausted from carrying the load, you're heading for disaster. Marcus Smart spoke candidly about how difficult it is coming off the bench, not knowing if you'll get the ball or how many minutes you'll play. He said people don't really recognize how tough that situation is, having to stay ready without knowing if you'll get opportunities to make an impact. He can only control what he can control, and that's been his motto throughout his career. The defensive identity crisis is real. Luka Doncic admitted they scored 120 points, which should be enough to win, but they just can't guard anybody. Each player needs to step up individually and not let their man drive downhill. The Kings were going downhill, driving and kicking, and hit 10 three-pointers in the first half alone. By the time the Lakers tried to adjust, they were already down 24 points. Here's the critical question. How long does it take to build a team defense? When asked, Luka honestly said he didn't know. Can it happen in 2 weeks, or do you need 30 to 40 games together? The reality is they haven't had their full roster healthy and playing together consistently. Marcus Smart pointed out they really haven't had the group together yet, and when you're trying to play 5 guys on a string, you need that camaraderie and understanding of where everyone will be. If you want to stay updated on whether the Lakers can turn this around, hit that subscribe button right now. LeBron James was asked about the playoffs and competing deep into the postseason, and he shut that conversation down immediately. It's December, and he refused to talk about what kind of damage they can do in the playoffs when they're still trying to build proper habits. The habits they develop now will determine if they're even in position to make the postseason. But as far as playoff conversations in December, that's not happening. The small ball lineup they experimented with in the fourth quarter showed some promise. They cut a 24-point deficit down to 8 or 9, with everyone hustling and playing faster. But it was too little, too late. The damage had already been done. End-of-quarter execution has been atrocious. They did a terrible job at the end of the first and second quarters, immediately putting themselves behind the 8 ball. When you're giving up runs like that and can't execute in crucial moments, you're going to struggle against any quality opponent. The transition defense is non-existent. The Kings have one of the fastest players in the league in De'Aaron Fox, and the Lakers simply couldn't get back and set their defense. When you're chasing from behind in transition rather than setting up in the half court, it makes everything exponentially harder. Communication breakdowns compounded the problem, with players not knowing what was happening behind them. Marcus Smart delivered the most powerful message of the night. He said they're going to have to look themselves in the mirror and figure out what they want to do. Are they going to lay down and get punked, or are they going to fight back? He made it clear he's not the one to lay down, and hopefully the team can find a way to fight back together. The coaching staff knows what needs to happen. JJ Redick mentioned they need to ask more of everybody. The things that help you win on the margins, they're just not good at right now. They don't crash the boards, they can't force turnovers, and if a team shoots well, they're in serious trouble. It's a harsh reality check for a team with championship aspirations. LeBron acknowledged the added rest from not making the end-season tournament might benefit him physically, but he maintained his focus on just loving to compete regardless of the circumstances. The competitive fire is still there, but the execution isn't matching the desire.
The Lakers are now 17-7, which Luka pointed out is still a pretty good record to start the season. But as he said, they feel like they can be so much better than this. The potential is there, the talent is obvious, but something isn't clicking defensively. Teams are getting the best of them by attacking the same weaknesses repeatedly. This isn't a roster problem, it's an execution and communication problem. When 5 guys aren't on the same string, when rotations are breaking down, when players aren't getting back in transition, all the talent in the world won't save you. Smart emphasized that when they can get people in the half court and set their defense, it makes things easier. But when they have to run and chase from behind, it becomes significantly harder. The question now is whether they can fix these issues before it becomes too late. They're still early in the season, and there's time to improve, but the same problems keep appearing game after game. The blueprint to beat the Lakers is out there, and teams are following it successfully. Until they address the ball containment, transition defense, and 5-man coordination, these losses will keep piling up. The Lakers have all the pieces. They have LeBron James. They have offensive firepower. They have Marcus Smart back for defensive leadership. What they need now is consistency, communication, and a commitment to defending as a unit. The individual talent can overcome systematic defensive breakdowns. As LeBron said, it has to be 5 guys on the string, with communication at an all-time high. Can they turn it around? The spirit is still high in the locker room. They know they can do it, but knowing and doing are 2 completely different things. Time will tell if this Lakers team can build the defensive identity they need before teams continue exploiting their weaknesses all season long.